So I definitely was not going to be able to wait until December to actually start my December album, and as soon as I got this Christmas themed coffee postcard sort of thing in the mail from Nespresso, I knew I would have to start immediately. So I wanted to keep this packaging because it was so beautiful, and I decided to trim that down and make it into a 3x4 card. It didn't quite turn out the way I thought it would. I had planned to sort of cut out this coffee cup and put it over top, but once I got there I realized it would really just cover up everything. So instead I cut the coffee down to 3x4. And then I just couldn't really work out where to go from there. So I struggled really. My picture of what this page was going to look like was totally ruined. So I moved on. This was the box that the coffee actually came in, and I loved the pattern on the front of it, so I thought I would cut that down and make it into sort of an insert that would go on top of this page. And so I'm just trimming it down to try and make it fit, but also to try and make it square because I was doing a really bad job of that. So I trimmed that down until it's just the width that it was, but it's 8 inches high to fit in my album. And then I'm going to add some of these attachers that I had cut out with a metal die. And so I'm just lining that up on the page protector to get the holes in the right place. And then I'll flip those over and glue them shut. And I can put in the one photo that I know I'm going to use, and then I'm shuffling and I can't work out what I'm going to do until I realised it's actually that bit that I didn't like. It didn't work out how I wanted, so I was going to use this card that I had previously done. So I'll show you how I did this. This is using a stamp set from Feed Your Craft, and I just repeat stamped the outline of the Christmas tree in a sort of dark teal ink, and then I used the solid stamp to fill in the inside in a lighter teal ink. And once I had stamped all of those, I added a couple of sentiments in black, and easy as that, I've got a filler card, which I didn't know what I was going to use for at the time, but actually ended up working out perfectly. So that's going to go there, and I love how the teal colours sort of match in together. So that card's all done, and I'm going to do a Kelly Perky here and do my journaling around the outside of the coffee cup. And then I had typed out the descriptions of what the flavours of the coffees were, and I'm going to just cut them out and glue them down onto the back of the insert page. This took a little bit of time, but I'm glad to have them written down. I didn't do it last year. I got the same Christmas coffees but never wrote it down, so this time I'm not making the same mistake. So that's that page all done. So for the second page, I'm using some printables from the Ellie Edwards store. I've printed them twice, once on white card and once on vellum, and then I'm just working out which one I'm going to use. I'm going to do my typing on the vellum, and then I'm going to trim both of those down to 3x4, and then I'm going to stitch around the vellum and stitch it onto the white card. And before I stick that down, I'm just going to pull the edges back a little bit just to give it a bit more texture. And then I had printed out another card as well, but I'm just going to cut the title piece off the top and stick that onto this card as well, but I'm going to stick it down with some foam dots. Just trim that so it will fit and stick that onto the top. And then for the other side, I couldn't decide whether to use the vellum piece or the white piece, but in the end I went with white. Just have to trim that a little bit more to make it fit in. I'm sure I'll use the vellum piece somewhere else. So that's my basic page done, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to use these little acrylic lights from Colourcast Designs. So I was going to make an sort of insert page that goes on top of this one as well. So I've got this gold dot vellum and I'm going to run it through my laminator into a laminating pouch just to make it a little bit more sturdy. So I'm just lining that up, sorry about the headshot there. And then I'm just going to run this through my laminator. So once that comes out of the laminator, it just makes the vellum a bit more sturdy, so I know it's not going to rip or tear or anything like that, because what I'm going to do is trim this down so it's the right size, and then I'm going to do some stitching on it. So I've made a wee stitching template and just drawn that out on a piece of paper. So after I punch these holes, so it will actually fit in the binder, I'm just going to use a pin and my punching mat, and I'm just going to punch holes along this sort of arc. So it goes from the top of the insert to the right hand side. Then I'm going to do some stitching with some white embroidery floss, but because I want it to be really seen, I'm not splitting the thread, I'm using a whole sheet of floss. And I'm also not going to back stitch it, I'm going to do running stitch all the way up to the top and then all the way back, so both of my loose ends are in one place, because then I'm going to tie a bow in it. So it takes me a little bit of time just to tie the bow tidily and make both ends sort of match but not too big, and then I'm just going to trim the ends off. So then I've got my string, and now I'm going to glue my little Christmas lights onto it. So I'm just going to use multi-matte medium to do that, and of course immediately I splodge a big piece on the first one, so I can use that to wipe off on the second one. And what you do want to do is make sure, like this, you get the glue on the right side, which I totally didn't. If you act quickly, you can wipe it off and then stick it down, it's not a problem. Just going to stick all the rest of those down, and they do take a little bit of time to dry, but once that's dry I've then got a really cute insert to go over top of a really simple page. So there's my first 2 pages done in my December daily for 2016. Love them and can't wait to do more. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos up on screen. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye!